So it's two in a row for Bryce Elder. He couldn't hang on in the sixth inning last night, but through the first 5 innings, he was remarkable last night. Another 5 innings, with no earned runs in the first 5 innings, but then he ended up, pitching only 5 1/3, and he gave up, another hit and had an earned run. But when you look at his line in total, 5 1/3 runs, one earned run, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts on 90 pitches, and he just couldn't get through that sixth inning. And I was hoping, again, he was only at 80 some pitches. I think it was 81 pitches heading into the sixth inning, but he just find a way to hang on for it. But he picks up his 10th win. He's now 10-4, drops his ERA to 3.39. And look, this is what we were hoping for, is this bounce back. I mean, he's had a rough, not just second half, but really like a last 11, 12 starts. And we broke all this down. Again, the first 11, 1.93 ERA, second 11 starts, 5.07 ERA. But you feel better now that he's made back-to-back starts that have been outstanding. He's only given up one run in his last 12 and a third inning. So it feels like, hopefully that this thing has turned itself around and he's kind of righted this ship, because again, this is not about the division. It's not about the Mutts or, the Marlins or the Philadelphia Phillies or anything like that. This is about the bigger picture. This is about getting guys right from playoff time. This is about getting our starting rotation set and feeling like we can give the ball to anybody in our rotation, and especially 1 through 4, we can give the ball to our top 4 guys and have a chance to win every time out. And Elder was one of those guys that, honestly, for the last month or so here, you've kind of questioned yourself about, okay, can he hang on to a playoff spot in the rotation? Well, again, and I know it's only 2 starts, but we said this after the last one. Okay, let me see it 2 in a row. Okay, well, he went out and did it last night. Now let me see it 3 in a row. Look, I don't want to get into a situation like last year when I've got a guy coming back from an oblique that's not 100% healthy, and I've got one of my other starters throwing up in a bucket. Like, I don't want to get into that scenario. This team is too good and too talented to have those kinds of things happen. And I understand that in the world of baseball, anything can happen, right? We learned that from Leo. Anything can happen in a short series. But there's no reason for this team to get derailed. I mean, again, we just talked about setting the home run record, and, the division is just a laughing stock right now, and, all these different things. No reason for this franchise and this team specifically to get derailed in this. And they are the best team in the National League. I know the Dodgers are now fighting for that number 1 spot and all this kind of stuff, but the Braves have been the most complete team all season long. But I don't want to get this thing derailed. I don't want this thing to go sideways where all of a sudden, an Elder who we are going to count on in the playoffs. Again, it's not like we're getting a magical fifth starter, to all of a sudden start pitching for us. Jared Schuster is all of a sudden not going to rise up and just dominate the league the rest of the year. It's Morton, Fried, Strider, Elder. That's the 4 guys that I have to have right. That's the 4 guys that have to be able to carry me through the playoffs. Again, if you need a 5th starter, which you may not, but we can figure that part of it out. But I have to have those 4 guys be locked down and be healthy and ready to go and on their A game when we get into the playoffs. I don't want to monkey around like we did last year. And like I said, have guys throwing up in buckets or, coming back from injuries that really, didn't look like that they were right and healthy and everything. Like, can't really have that now. And so, again, this is a situation where we're looking at the long term in this. We're looking at the end game in all of this. And I don't want anything to get us derailed from what the ultimate goal is, and that's winning the World Series. And again, I need Strider and Elder and Max Fried and Charlie Morton. Like, I'm going to be locked in to seeing what those 4 guys do down the stretch. And that was a good second step, not first step. That was a good second step in what Bryce Elder can be. If I can get Bryce Elder to get himself back to what he was in the first 11 starts of the year, you feel pretty confident about going into these series. Again, you're not going to mash your way through the playoffs. We've talked about this, and again, you saw that 2003 team. You don't need a better representative in history than that 2003 Braves team. For all of that power and all of that batting average and all the run production that team had, and that's the modern day run scored record for the Braves franchise, it just went to crap once they got against Pryor and Wood. And Sheffield couldn't do anything. Javi didn't do much. Chipper was bleh. Don't want that again. And I'm not relying on the idea of we're just going to be able to slug our way through and home run our way through. That didn't work out for the Twins a few years ago. And it's just not how baseball works. You've still got to be able to pitch and play defense and move runners along and do the little things well. And Elder being a part of all of this is a big key, because he's going to get his playoff starts. And the way it works, I mean, again, you don't have as much time. There are multiple rounds of playoffs and multiple series and all this kind of stuff. You need a guy like Elder to be able to lock down one of those spots and feel confident that he can take the ball every 5th day or what have you and go out there and pitch you to a victory. So good for Elder. 2 good starts in a row now. Again, I'll say it. Let me see 3 in a row. Let me see 3 in a row. Let me feel better about what our 4th starter position is going to be. Not have lots of questions headed toward the playoffs, as again, the playoffs will be here in a few weeks. This thing will happen very, very quickly. Just like the Falcons preseason, this thing is going to happen very, very quickly. All right, as you listen in to Hittin' Hard, make sure you go in and leave us a comment on whatever podcast platform that you're listening on. Let us know that you're an everyday listener to the program. We thank you so much for being a part of our community, but let us know on whatever platform it is in the comment section that you're an everydayer to the program, that you listen in 5 days a week. And again, we thank you so much for being a part of this ride and this journey.